Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be going through the ultimate beginner's guide. This video is essentially and only for people that are either looking at playing Escape from Tarkov or are so brand new to the game and just don't know, the ins and outs, the little things that can help you from the main menu all the way into your raids. We're going to be doing this in sort of like 2 to 3 segments. First, we're going to be going around the main menu, what you can do in there, the flea market, even your messenger where you're retaining and getting items from traders, everything you really need to know, all the nitty gritty stuff. Now, before we do get into this ultimate beginner's guide, I would love it if you do like the video, if you love the content, please like, subscribe. As you can see, it is a brand new YouTube channel, so we are looking to do some amazing things here, and thank you for your support, and comment if you have any other questions that I may not have gone through. One thing I do want to say is I don't really want to go like too in detail about, armor plating and how you should be playing the game. If you did want to look at some tips, I did release 13 tips to help you survive more in Escape from Tarkov. Check that out, and I will be releasing like raid content, etc. In the next coming, month or two as well. So let's get straight into it. And once again, I am Blacklight. So we're in the main menu now. Just before this, if you are starting a brand new account, you are going to be treated with what language you want to see everything in and what name you want to use. So you just do that, and then you'll come to this page. Essentially from the start, what you're really looking at doing is most probably just getting into trading. I've already accepted them now, but what you'll see is these like little green ticks at for some traders, and then you're going to go in and accept those quests. This will then give you quests to do on certain maps. Now, the maps shown will always be in the top right, and it will show active, so the map is ground zero. And if I go through all the traders, it will show all the quests that I have right now, and this is what I have to complete to progress, get more experience, unlock new traders, unlock loyalty levels in traders, which is essentially like the next level of a trader, 1 2 3 4 5, so on. Basically, you just want to keep going until your levels increase, your character gets stronger, you get more money, etc. A lot of people compare this game to like DayZ, survival mode, which there are similarities, but Escape from Tarkov to me is the most intense FPS you could ever play. It is very, very frustrating at times to a lot of people. You will die no matter how good you are at the game. You could be the best player and you will still die. So giving you a basis on Escape from Tarkov in this main menu, it's very simple. You have your character, or this character page is essentially showing you, if you do go into a raid on this left side, what you're going in with, from your backpack, your rig, your pockets, to the gun you're taking in, the armor, the face cover, your earpiece. Now, you can set presets later on with, certain armors you like and certain helmets and like a cool looking setup that's also very strong with a really cool gun. But that's something you really look for later down the track when you've got, millions and millions of rubles, which is the currency. And talking about currencies, in the top right, you're going to see this little sign, which means rubles, and then you've got your euro and USD. Really, your main currency is rubles. It's how you're going to buy things, how you're going to sell things and make money from that, and retaining and getting more rubles. They are the 3 currencies in the game. Now, if you haven't done a raid as of yet and you're thinking, whoa, should I go in with all this? I'm very new to the game. Maybe I'm playing solo. Even if you're playing with a duo, a trio, 4 stack, 5 stack, it doesn't matter. If it is the start of a wipe, and if you don't know what a wipe is, I will explain, but I would recommend maybe going in with a pistol only if you are a really, really new player. For me, I'm comfortable going in with an assault rifle like this because basically there has been recoil changes. If you didn't know, these recoil changes this wipe have made it a lot easier to shoot these type of assault rifles that don't have many or any attachments on them that will help your stability and your recoil, etc. Completely up to you what you go in with. Just remember, if you didn't know, in Escape from Tarkov, if your gear and what you take take in is not insured, then you will lose it all if you die. Now, insurance is very simple. If I go into a raid, PMC, and I choose a map, these are the maps here, and let's say I choose ground zero and I choose the time I'm going in, I will have the ability to click on things or click insure all and then pay rubles to ensure this. And what this essentially means is if I go into a raid and my gear and all these items, whatever is highlighted yellow, is insured, if nobody extracts that raid with that gear, then you will get that back within 24 hours. It will turn up in your messenger from Propor, and you click receive all, and then it will show up here and you can put it back into your stash. If it is a start of wipe, maybe you've said to your friends or people, look, next wipe in Escape from Tarkov, I'm going to come in, boys, I'm ready to play. This is going to be the video for you, and this is going to help you sort of just sink in a bit, get your feet wet, and really understand the game a bit more before you dive straight into a raid and think, where am I? What do I do? How does this work? Essentially, since we've gone over the character screen, once again, we've got magazines and then bullets and the total capacity of those bullets. Now, what you want to focus on early in wipe is looting, even in raiding in general, just to know what to loot, how to loot, also the type of ammo. And this is really important. Knowing the type of ammo as you go on is going to be really, really helpful. And it's one of the most important things, because when you continue on through a wipe, people get better armor. And when people get better armor, if you aren't keeping up to date the type of ammo and using better ammunition, then that isn't going to penetrate the higher class armor. Just like you would with other games, you know, like using light ammo versus heavy ammo in Apex, let's say, that bullet, the light ammo, isn't going to penetrate or do as much damage as what the heavy ammo would. I know some of you may not play Apex and battle royales like that, but it's just an analogy or a way to sort of correlate them both together. Before you go into a raid, some of you are going to be lucky and you're going to have some friends that go, don't worry, come on in, we'll teach you everything as we go. But there's going to also be some of you that are solo and you're like, what do I do? How do I go in? What do I need to know? Whether that is you or not, before you go into a raid, even if you are going to play with some friends, maybe just say to them, what map were you going to start on? Now, generally, you're going to start now on the new map called Ground Zero. Ground Zero, as you can see here, it's got a 50-minute timer in the raid. Insane is correct because it's quite a smallish, compact map in terms of the size of it. Like compared to the other bigger maps, this is a very small, lot of fighting map, and this is where all your quests are going to be. Now, you can see here, it's in between 9 to 10 players can be in the raid. Now, there is something called Scavs in a raid. And what these are is essentially AI CPUs that roam the map, that are in certain areas, and essentially they get triggered to you. And if they hit you, they will hit you very well because they are very tough in this game. They will kill you if you let them shoot at you for, more than 5 seconds, unless you get really lucky, but they're really, really strong sometimes, and you will get one tapped and die and think, maybe I should have ran a different way. Maybe I should have actually looked out for scavs. Now, what you also need to be wary of is also player scavs. So I'm going to bring you back here before I tell you what to do before going into a raid and show you that you can go in as a scav or a PMC. Now, what does this mean? If you right now went in and click scav, you can choose a map and it will put you in as a scav, as a so-called AI unit that is player controlled with armor that is relatively around the same armor as what a scav would have in raid. What you would do is you would go in. Now, you've got two options. You can play scav as like, oh, this is a way for me to get free loot, or I want to hunt players. I want to see if I can kill a player, get all their loot. Even if they have insurance, I'll extract with that and keep that for myself. You can also do what's called rogue farming, but let's not get into that. That is generally on a map called Lighthouse. But generally with scavving, you're using this as a free utility piece to go into a map, loot, get more money, come back out, get a free gun, get some armor, then transfer that to your PMC, and it has a cooldown. So when you scav once, as soon as you come back to the menus, you'll see like a little timer, and that has a cooldown. So you can't just scav over and over repeatedly, or else it would be way too broken. But it's a good way early wipe to actually practice, maybe have a warm up. As soon as you log into Escape from Tarkov, you're like, look, I'm gonna go do a scav, get warmed up, maybe feel good about myself after one quick raid and then jump into the PMC. I would generally give you the advice that you should always scav first. 1, to warm up. 2, there's less pressure on you because if you die, well, you know, you're not losing money that you've taken in or things that you've taken in. And then you're also going to reset and have a cooldown on your scav while you're playing your PMC. So you come in, you do a quick scav, no matter if you die or you extract as your scav, you're going to then proc the cooldown of the scav, and then you jump in as a PMC, and while you're playing your PMC raid, the scav is going to have a cooldown, and then hopefully by the time you extract or die on your PMC, then your scav is going to be ready to go again. And that's something that a lot of people will do and utilize. Now let's get back to talking about us going into an offline raid. So before we go into a map and we verse actual players, what you can do and what I suggest doing is you go and you choose to go in an offline raid. Now, simply all you do is you click this enable practice mode for this raid, game settings. If you want to see how the scavs are, you can have them online in this raid. You can do a co-op mode if you want. You can turn this off as well. And if you are a new player and you just want to kind of get used to the map, used to the surroundings, I would recommend doing AI amount none, going in and then basically just getting a feel for the map. Even you can take a gun in like that M4A1 I was showing you, and you can just literally spray this in the offline raid and it doesn't matter. If I used all these 120 bullets in the offline raid, when I come back to the character screen, they're still going to be here. So you're not going to lose anything. I could drink the water, I could eat the food, could do anything, and then essentially still be all fine because I was in an offline raid. So it's kind of like a practice raid. If you don't want to do that and you want to dive in, I'm going to be doing separate map overviews for you. So it's not going to be connected to this beginner's guide video, but look out at my videos for the future because I'm going to have a ground zero video. I'm going to do a customs video and a woods video because these are the 3 maps I will suggest for you guys to learn. They are all early quest maps and they are very vital in terms of map knowledge, especially customs. Woods is much bigger, a lot of open grass. Sometimes you can do that raid and not much will happen, but customs and ground zero is where you're really going to find some heavy PvP, and I'm going to have those 2 map overviews, going to tell you where all the hotspots are that you want to kind of avoid if you want to avoid, or where the hotspots are that you actually want to get into a fight if you are that type of player. So now we've talked about what the character screen does. We've talked about doing offline raids to practice, how scavs work, how the raids work when you go in, essentially with scavs and AI. And now we're going to speak about the traders and the hideout. It's not just about going in with the character, hoping you do well, and that's it. There are some ways or different things you need to know about Tarkov that's going to help your character progression, that's going to help you getting more money, and that's the flea market and the hideout. With trading, I will mention quickly, simply, you have 8 traders and they will all offer you things to buy and to sell. Well, not offer you things to sell, but you can offer them something to sell. Now, generally, you want to offer like all your medical things to therapists to sell. She will buy them for the most. If you see here, I click sell and then I go and I look at what an AI2 med kit would sell for, which is 3,276 rubles. Now, if I went to Propor, he would actually buy it off me for 2,600. So you can actually learn yourself what traders will buy a certain item for the most by scanning through. And as you play more, you sell more, you buy more, you're going to understand that Ragman will buy these fabrics more than, well, obviously not therapists should buy them the most, but more than Propor. But that's the things you're going to find out. Even Ragman like will buy this helmet, right? But therapists, you're not allowed to sell this helmet. Generally, you're selling like fabrics, clothes, bandanas, helmets and stuff to Ragman, but you want to obviously just have a scan. You'll get used to it. And it's something not too major, but it's still going to generate you money early wipe. And that's really important. Let's get into the hideout. Now, a brief overview of the hideout is think of it as a safe house. Think of it as a way for you to increase increase your options and your character's ability to craft more, to be stronger, have better combat strength, to have more stash space. It gives you all this ability. So you're going to notice here things are going to be locked and you can construct them. The way you can construct them is by gaining the item that is X'd. So you can see here that it's saying I have 20,000 out of 20,000 rubles ready to go, but I need a measuring tape. So if we find a tape in raid, we can keep that. If we extract, then we can use it to construct this. Hideout is very important. I will give you the biggest tip. Don't do wipes and say the hideout is something I don't want to focus on. It will hurt you later as you go on. Try and focus on this, because when they do eventually full release the game, this will be something that's very important. And the more you invest into the hideout and look at and know the items you need for it, like if you see here illumination, and I need 10,000 rubles, which is saying I already have. If I go to the workbench, it says I need the nuts and I need some nails as well. All this are the things you need. It's going to give you a very big power boost and ability to craft really good ammo as well, because as these wipes and patches come through, Escape from Tarkov Battle.net games, what they've been doing is they've been trying to limit the really good ammo. And if you don't find it or you don't have a lot, you have the ability to obviously, hopefully sometimes buy it off the flea market. Even some ammunitions you can't, but a lot of the times you can craft really good ammo in the hideout as well later on. So it actually becomes quite useful. We've talked about the hideout, we've talked about the character screen and what that looks like. Just quickly in regards to going into an actual PMC raid, generally in our world that we live in, you know, night time will be 6 p.m, daytime will be 6 a.m. start. In Escape from Tarkov, it's actually like 9 a.m, 9 p.m. So you can see here that if I did, you could potentially go into this raid and still see daylight for quite a long time. So don't be scared about that, just in case you didn't know that. It's a good little tip. But yeah, now the messenger, really quickly, it's where your traders will send you like your quest items you receive when you have insured your gear and you have died. You get that back from Propor. So this is a way for you to see if there's things you need to receive or messages which you don't really read, but you can see here by this little attachment symbol, I can actually receive something here and then get it through. And then as we saw before, I can bring that all in. I can just click receive all. Now what we have here on the right of this character screen is our stash. This shows our current inventory, what we have, and essentially everything is sorted. Now we can filter anything we want by weapons. You can see it sort of highlights them and then dims the rest. You can go through all of this, and then we have what's called a sorting table and an auto sort. So the one thing you're going to realize about Escape from Tarkov is as you play more, you're going to get a bunch more loot. This whole stash is going to get really, really, really full, and I'm on the highest value account, which is called an Edge of Darkness account. So I have a lot more space than some other people would be. So essentially some people literally only have something like this up till about here, let's say. What you can do is if everything's everywhere and sort of things are stashed like this, you've got food there left, right, bandages going left and right, you can click the auto sort and that will automatically sort everything you have in your stash. Then you have your sorting table, which allows you to like sort of like, let's say if I had no space, I could put the bag in there. Just think of everything must be in your inventory, and then this is like a physical table where you can just put things to the moment and try kind of like readjust, or maybe I could do things like this, create more space because I'm chucking them in the bag, and then I simply can just drag it back in or whatever it may be. That's a good way to look at it. Nothing too crazy, just trying to get you in the understanding of sort of making your inventory as clean and tidy as possible, because trust me, later down the track, you are going to feel the pain if you aren't like that. We've got some tabs here, nothing too crazy. You can see your tasks overall and your operational tasks. So you get daily tasks as well that you can accept and give you some really good stuff and really good experience. Skills, you can sort of see here what skills do as well. And as you play more, as you do things more, even like looting, even just going up to a body, even if you have full loot, that will give you experience. So as long as you tap on the body or whatever it may be and then just escape off, it's going to give you some more experience. That's really vital. And the last thing but not least is the flea market. Now you can see here in bright orange, because I am on a alt account, which is is brand new, hasn't had any raids or anything, but essentially it says none of this will be available to me until level 15. And then you might say, well, why does it say purchase? These are bartering offers. So these are things that the traders currently offer me to buy. So if I went into traders, I could see that there and then buy that then. Essentially what this means, this is like your auction house. Like if you've played World of Warcraft, this is kind of like your auction house. You can buy things from traders in here and other players. So other players will sell stuff as well. Even if I like went into gear and let's say I went to a slick plate, it will show you things you can buy. Let's see, even a trooper. You can search anything you want here, any item in the game, and it will come up. Let's see if I can go. Maybe it won't show what people are selling. So I don't think it's going to. But once you get to level 15, you will be able to see that. You will be able to buy for rubles items you need. It might be for quests. It might be for whatever, for your hideout. It might be to sell items, so you can sell items in there as well. And that's a kind of another point. You don't always have to sell to traders, and you don't always have to sell to the flea market. Be wary that the flea market does actually take a percentage of your sell. So just like you would on actual eBay in real life. So sometimes it's actually more valuable for you to sell to a trader. Maybe look out for that, because sometimes you actually lose money on the flea market compared to selling it to a trader. But that is the main screen in general, and I know we've gone on that for a bit, but I hope that gives you an understanding as to how you can traverse this screen before jumping into a raid. Now we're going to get into talking about in the raids what you need to know, what you need to do, and what you need to look out for in terms of how to actually utilize your character, aiming, keybinds, etc. So let's get to that. All right, so welcome into an offline raid. We are on the map called Ground Zero. If you haven't seen it before, now you get to see it. A beautiful map, really cool, really high intense PvP, and the first map you're generally going to be playing to do and complete your quests in Escape from Tarkov. Now I just wanted to run through some keybinds with you, some things you need to know. Now essentially, if I go to tab and then to open up my character screen quickly, I can press tab. This will essentially show me how many bullets are in my gun. I can do that another way, which I will show you, but it'll just show me an overall screen of what's in my backpack, what I have currently, if I even have headwear on and a headset on. I might think, wait, do I actually have my second weapon that I looted from that guy? Whatever. But essentially by pressing tab, we are going to an immediate character screen. Now, what we can do, and there's different ways you can use like hotkeys and everything like that, but essentially if anything is in our pockets or our rig, we can hotkey them with numbers to use them immediately. So I'll show you here. I've just pressed number 4. So you can see number 4 was on my med kit. If I press number 4 on these painkillers, then it will take it and switch it over. I can make my med kit number 5, the bandage number 6, and the splint number 7. Now a splint will stop fractures. Let's say someone fractures my leg and I don't have a splint. I can use painkillers to stop me from limping, so then I can sprint. I'm not going to get into that type of stuff. I'm just going to talk about hotkeys. So essentially what you'll see here is if I did, let's say someone shot me in the leg and my extract is really close, I can then press 4. It'll immediately make me pop a painkiller, and then I can start like walking again. I can start sprinting, and Bob's your uncle, as they say. Now what you can also see here quickly is if let's say I'm like, oh, why am I limping? I can then press tab, go to the health tab as well, and then I can see so I can see I'm on painkillers. It will show me if I'm heavy bleeding, light bleeding. It will show me if I have a fracture, whatever it may be. Now in a raid, generally you don't want to be going health, use and click use to like heal myself. You want to be doing things with hotkeys. Hotkeys, keybinds, really important in this game. A way for you to reduce time in what you're doing and essentially be ready for war. But what you can also do is you can do what's called a release. Now I can't show you exactly what this is going to look like, but essentially what it is if you go into settings, just make sure this is done. You go to controls and you say, now you pick what number you generally want to heal from. Generally you be 4 or 5, and make sure it has release on it. Now what that's going to do is if you are hurt, and sorry for the screen right now, this is the effect of the painkillers, but if you are hurt, you can hold number 4 right now or 5 and taking another painkiller. But if I was damaged, bleeding, if I hold number 5, it would actually show me a quick drop down from the top of the screen, and I could scroll and then heal a certain limb. So you can see here on the character screen, I have limbs. I have certain parts of the body that have their own health portions. They have their own damage factors, health percentages. So you can individually, and you will individually need to heal certain parts of your body to stop it from bleeding, to stop a fracture, to whatever it may be. Now you also have what's called a gamma container. This is really important. Let's say you find an item that's really expensive. This gamma container is going to allow you to have 6 spots or 4 spots depending on your current edition of Escape from Tarkov you have. And if you find a really expensive item, you can then drag it into the gamma container, and this is essentially a case that will, whatever is put in here, it will definitely come back with you whether you die or extract. So if you do die and you have these really expensive items in your gamma, you are going to get them back in your character screen, back in the main menu, and you don't need to worry about that. Say you find an item that's worth 500, 1 million rubles, you're putting this straight into here, your container, so you can't lose it no matter what. Now you have to be also wary of something. When a quest says you must find MRE, right? You must find found in raid MRE ration packs. If I found this ration pack in a raid, but I die, it won't matter whether it's in here or in my pack. If it's in my backpack and I die, I'm going to lose it anyway. But if I found it in raid and put it into my gamma, but the quest line says you must find found in raid MRE ration packs, it means that I have to survive that raid to be able to hand in that item. That was something that they changed a long time ago, but this makes surviving more crucial, and this makes you sort of like, oh, I have my quest item, I need to get out of here and extract to be able to hand it in. So they're the types of decisions you're going to have to make. You could find 2 or 3 quest items and then think, should I be greedy and continue on raiding and looting in high dangerous areas, hot areas, or should I just try and get out now, get out with my quest items and progress on and try and be a bit more safe? So I hope that makes sense. Back to the hotkeys and keybinds. Now what you can immediately do, shift is obviously your sprint, right click is aiming in, left click is shooting, just like any other game. Pressing F will allow you to interact. And what you can do also is you can actually go from a full sprint to a full stop and slow walk. So if you look in the bottom left, we're going to have multiple bars here. The bottom green bar is showing our stamina. So if we sprint for a long time, that bar is going to drop. And then once it gets to like the last quarter of it, or approximately that, it's going to go red. And then we'll start gasping for air. So as you can see now. Now, other players can't hear this, but it will obstruct your audio and your listening ability. Now, as you can see, after I stop sprinting, I have regained stamina. And even when I walk, I regain stamina. In regards to that, we do have a weight system in this game. Wait, where is the weight system? Am I blind? Maybe it doesn't show it here. But you'll be able to see here, apologies, in gear in the bottom left, you have your hydration, your energy, your health, and your weight. As you loot more, maybe you've looted someone that's a really high geared player and you're going to attempt to loot their stuff, your weight will increase. And as your weight increases, it's going to make you slower in the way you walk or run if you're carrying and are overweight. Now, it will tell you that the color of this will change, and it will tell you when you're starting to get a bit overweight or your weight weight is increasing too much that your stamina will be affected, but you really need to be wary of this. Now, what happens a lot of the time is you're literally going to be walking so slow in early wipe that you can't carry everything. And if you press, for me, X, you can go prone, you can basically go like this and your stamina will regain. You come back up and you walk again and you're going to go prone. You'll see a lot of people do this early wipe because their character hasn't progressed so far to withstand that type of weight. And as you increase, as you play, as you get more experience or points in like strength and the ability to carry more weight, that's when you'll be able to carry more. But at the start, it's going to be real grimy if you are, you know, trying to carry in multiple backpacks with the rig inside your backpack and going like that and trying to walk further and walking far or sprinting far distances. It's also going to make your sprinting bar go down quicker. So if you are heavier, this bar isn't going to go as slow as it would. The heavier you are, and once you start getting overweight, essentially it's going to drop quicker and make you sprint less. The bar above it is for aiming, so it's like kind of like your aiming stamina. You'll see if I want to hold an angle, let's say I heard someone coming in here and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to hold this, and maybe for 30 seconds, whatever, they don't come yet, but I'm like, oh, I can hear them, they're quite close, so you want to keep holding it. Now you have to be wary because when I go like this, it's actually going to make sound that they can hear. So you aiming in on a site, you actually preparing and holding an angle to prepare for a possible enemy is going to be something you need to look out for and understand, oh, if I actually do this quickly, I'm making noise. And noise is a very big part of Escape from Tarkov. But once this goes down, we're going to see that I'm going to start swaying a bit more, and this is going to make it harder to aim. So you can see the little jolts, the little move back, and it's showing me now that I've completely gone out in my stamina of aiming, and it's gone to my actual stamina bar now of like where I'd sprint and reducing that, and this makes it harder to aim. Now you can have guns that are more heavier that is going to make this bar go down quicker, but yeah, just a bit of a explanation onto that just so you know. Now what you see here, you can see the white dots, and both of them have like an arrow. Now what the bottom white dot line will show is essentially your walking speed. So if I quickly press caps lock, it will actually make it go to its slowest. So I can then press C to crouch, I can go back up, or I can hold C, use my scroll wheel and go in increments. Now this is good for, let's say if I wanted to try and hold like a bit of a head glitch, I could do something like this and go like as much as possible. So holding C and scrolling will allow me to do that, but I can do this with caps lock as well. So let's say I wanted to move the slowest, not the fastest, but in the middle, I can scroll and do that. Now generally you're not going to really do that. Generally you're going to be sprinting, right? Then you're going to, maybe you hear something, you press, you stop. Oh, apologies. So you're sprinting, you come here and you're like, oh, I heard something. So you go immediately in. No one is going to hear you. Although you hear audio here, if you are fully crouched and you are fully have your speed at its slowest by pressing caps lock, even though you hear things currently, nobody hears you. It's really, really broken, really, really strong. Obviously, they're going to hear things like this. They're going to hear things of you opening the door, but they're not going to hear you crouch walking. Now, depending on where we are at the wipe, any changes, patch notes, this could change very quickly because a lot of people have been complaining about this. So be on the lookout for that. And the left bar is going to show, as I said, just your ability to crouch, how low can you go, and go from there. So that's a bit of an overview into the stamina, how that works, and your ability to go really slow, quiet, or go really, really fast, or as fast as possible. In regards to keybinds, what we want to do also is we want to set a discard button. You can do this all in the control panel, where the keybinds, my discard button is one of my mouse buttons. So essentially there's two reasons why you want to discard a backpack, possibly coming into a fight or in a bad scenario. So let's say this door is closed and I hear someone kind of sprinting around here or looting. Now, you'll see a lot of players do this, especially the good ones. If I have a bunch of loot in here that's really making me heavier, it's going to make me slower. And the slower I am, the easier of a target I am. So if I was 45 kilos and I wanted to peek a guy that I knew was here, instead of me being like this, I could essentially be like really slow, and you'll notice it. I can't show you now because obviously the weight of 45 kilos is not there. I'm going to be slower. I'm going to be an easier target. So what a lot of people will do is they'll sort of come like this. They can hear something's about to happen. They'll press the discard button and then they'll be like, yep, just to be a harder target. Get in the habit of that. That is really, really important, and it can actually change the outcome of your fight, believe it or not, because the faster you are, the harder you are to hit. And yeah, with discarding also, or keybinds, you want to get into the habit of looting better. If I am looting someone else and I go up to them, I can press Control left click and it will automatically place the items from their side, which you'll see over here. So when I loot someone, everything they have will be shown here, and I can press Control left click and it will automatically store it into my backpack, whatever open space I have. If I click Alt left click and it's a gear piece, let's say they have a really, really good rig, and I'm showing you, this is where it's going to show when you loot someone, but let's say they have a really good rig and headphones and you're like, well, that's way better than mine. What I can do is, like, instead of like dragging and then doing all this and being slow, I can go discard, alt click, and it will be on there. I've just saved about 5 seconds, if not more, which is really important. You want to loot quickly. You want to be precise in what you're doing in Escape from Tarkov, because you never know what is around the corner. I didn't want to get too heavy into like ammunition and stuff, but what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to put some links in the description that will allow you to see the better ammunitions. I don't want to harp into it too much, but essentially ammunition is really important. You can see here, if I press Alt T, it's going to show me my magazine and it's going to show me what bullets I'm using. This is really, really, really important. Let's say I kill someone and I know I'm not using the best gun or the best bullets. I loot them and then I essentially have their gun. I press Alt T. This will allow me to see how many bullets are in that current magazine. It will allow me to see what bullets they are using. And the more you play, you're going to know if they are really good bullets or not. And it's going to give me information of like what I need to do. Do I need to reload? Do I need to put a new magazine in? Do I need to top up that magazine with new bullets? So much you can do there. Even when you fight and you're like, maybe you do this and you're like, yep. And you're like, how much do I have? Is half enough? Sometimes you'll be like, yeah, that's fine. You know what I mean? So Alt T is really, really useful for that. Use that a lot because it is going to help you out, especially with, instead of going tab, oh, what does he have here? Yep, inspect. Oh, yep, I'm going to uninstall this, look at it. Or I'm going to go like this and unload the ammo and go, oh, he's got M855. No. Be quicker with what you're doing, be more precise. It is going to help you. But they would be the most important, I would say, keybinds for me. Discarding, looting quickly, everything. And also another one, really important, apologies, is the letter B. B for Bravo. This will switch your firing rate. A lot of different games use different letters close to that. But for Escape from Tarkov, it's B. I can switch from single fire, press B, go into auto. That's going to obviously help you out a lot. And maybe when you kill someone, they were accidentally in single fire, you picked up the gun, someone else came and you're like, oh, yep, I'll just spray you down. And you go to spray someone down and then you're like, oh. So always check for that. Always press B to see if it's in auto, or maybe you don't even know what the gun offers. Maybe you're so new to the game and guns itself and you're like, how do I know if this is on single fire, full auto, or maybe on burst fire if you're using a burst fire ability gun. So yeah, that is your way to do that. In regards to ammo, as I was saying before, I'm going to put a link in below. The way ammo works in this game is basically off penetration. The higher the penetration value, the more it's going to pierce armor quickly, and then the higher, or generally the less the penetration value, the higher the flesh damage it does. And if you want to do flesh damage, you generally are not aiming for places that would generally contain armor, like the chest, you know, the top of the head, but generally you do want to aim for the face and the head. So you just don't want to aim for the chest if you're using high flesh damage ammo. That chart is going to be your bread and butter. I'm also going to give you a link to another site that will enable you to know what items are worth what. It's a great way to learn items, see what they're worth, and that will help you sort of know, do I have high tier loot on me, and is it worth keeping for me to sell or whatever it may be. The last two things I really wanted to go through, as you can see here, is your energy levels and your dehydration, your water levels. Now in Tarkov, it's very realistic in a sense in terms of, you know, dehydration will kill you, hunger will kill you. Dehydration you don't have to worry about as much, but energy, once your energy gets to 0, it's going to start taking health from you. It's also going to make your stamina really bad or really low, and you're not going to be able to sprint as much, if not anything, as it gets worse. You can heal through 0 energy, but essentially you always want to check on this. This has happened so many times where you go into a raid, it might be your 3rd or 4th raid, and you forget to bring water, tea, food through. This is really important. So all you do is you click it, you click use all. You can hotkey this as well, so I can put that to 5 if I wanted to, and then now I'm like, oh, my energy is getting a bit low. I can then just eat, and you can see it increase there. So you really want to be wary of that, because that can affect you in raid a lot. If I was at 0 energy right now and I was mid raid, I'd most really not be making it out. I wanted to give another just a little tip to people as well. If you are going to die or you are in a bad situation, don't be afraid to discard your insured items. Now, if you do insure items like your backpacks, whatever, let's say I'm in a really bad situation, try and find a spot where you think nobody will go and hide your stuff there. So let's just say I've got no bullets left, but I really like my gun. What I can do here is I can essentially just do something like this. I can discard it and be like that, and then even with my backpack I could do that. You will do this a lot for your friends as well, to hide their stuff if they die, if you are playing with your friends. But that's a way to get your items back and not lose it. You hide it somewhere. And you can also do this, and it's called insurance swapping. If I kill someone that has got the best loot ever, but I can't fit all my guns, all their stuff, maybe I killed 2 people, what you can do is you can stash all your insured gear somewhere, create space, then take all their stuff, extract with their stuff, and in 24 to 48 hours, you're going to get all your insurance items back. And that's called like the insurance fraud technique or insurance swapping technique. So utilize that. That is really, really good. I've done that hundreds of times. Get in the habit of that and use your insurance as much as you can for both positive and negative situations. As soon as you come into a raid as well, an important keybind to always do and always navigate is pressing the letter O twice, and it will show you all your current extraction points that you can go to extract. Sometimes you can extract from a co-op point. Now, what does that mean? A co-op point means that you must have yourself and a player scav, so someone that has gone into a raid as a scav, and basically you've randomly met them, and then you go to that extraction point for ground 0. This is called scav checkpoint, and then you both go there and you can extract together. Now this can be quite deadly because, one, you don't know the person, you've just met them maybe over voice comms, and they sound trustworthy, but at the end they shoot and kill you. This happens a lot. This is Escape from Tarkov. Trust is a very hard thing to find. And then you have your extraction points that will only be PMC only. Now we can also see here the time left in the raid in the top right. Essentially, as soon as that hits 0, your character will die, you'll abandon, and you'll lose everything. If that does happen, you don't get your insurance back for knowledge. I'm pretty sure that is correct. I don't think anything has changed there. So you can't just wait until end of raid and just ensure that you're getting everything back. You will need to try and extract. So using double O will allow you to see that. It will also allow you to see people that have already used an extraction that only has a one-time use, i.e. the police cordon VX. This extra extract on ground 0 is just here, and see this black car with the brake lights kind of on or shining. This is an extraction. It is only a one-time use extraction through each raid. So if somebody activates this and uses it, that will then show as red color font, meaning someone's taken it and it can't be used for the rest of the raid. Now, I didn't want to get into all the extractions. I advise you look at videos about extractions for Ground Zero. I'm going to go through more of like a PvP guide for you, in a sense of like what you need to look out for, etc. But that is really important, using 00 to look at your extractions, your current extractions, and I will put in the description below the links of each map and how you can traverse them and where all the extractions are, etc. All right, so I did want to talk about another keybind, and you might think, well, once I get into a raid, I feel a bit more comfortable now, but how do I know where do I actually need to extract from? What are my extractions? How long is left in the raid? Now, if we just go to our keyboard and double tap O in the top right hand corner, it will show us all of our available extraction points and how long is left in raid. But something we need to be wary of is you can't always extract by yourself from certain extraction points. Generally, most of them you can, and there's some extraction points that only have a one-time use for a group of players or one player, and if that does get used, you can't actually use that for the rest of that raid. For example, here we have right in front of me the police cordon VX. This is actually a quest you need to do in Ground Zero very early on, and you need to pay 5,000 rubles to activate this extraction. You wait 1 minute and then you can extract via this car, and after that nobody else in the raid will be able to use this extract. Now, when you know this has been used, very simple, when you click 00, you actually see instead of police cordon VX and exfil 01 being white, it will be all red, and that's how you know someone has used it and that extraction is not available to you. You also have co-op extractions. This means that you can actually go to an extraction with a scav, so a player scav, so someone that is coming to the raid after you have joined in with all the other players. You've met them randomly, maybe you're talking on voice comms, and you say, do you want to do the player scav and let's get out of here. Now, this can be very dangerous because you've just met this person for the first time and you can't sort of trust them, or you don't know whether to trust them. This is a big part of Tarkov. You know, trust is a very hard thing to find, but there are co-op extractions as well, so be wary of that. But generally, all the ones that say Emicon checkpoint, Mirror Avenue, they're just PMC ones that any PMC can go to at any point. They're not constricted by how many, but the ones that are like police cars and cars like that, it's one-time use only. Now, when I say one-time use, I just mean it can only be used once, but if you did have a squad with you that's like 2, 3, or 4, you can all pay the amount that's needed. For each map, it differs if there is an availability of that type of extraction. For example, I think on customs, you can do it next to dorms, and that's 10,000 rubles. Here on Ground Zero, it's 5,000 rubles. So you need to bring in that money with you or find rubles in raid to be able to use the extractions like these as well. But I hope that makes sense. Also, one thing I wanted to add in, I didn't talk about this, but they did also add in vaulting this wipe if you haven't seen. So holding spacebar or just going up to something and pressing spacebar. Generally, you just kind of sprint, hold spacebar, and then it takes you up. Sometimes you can just look down a bit and it'll work, but vaulting is a part of the game now. Something that's very huge. You can now go on top of cars with ease because of vaulting, little cheeky things that you can find. But yeah, enjoy that. Vaulting has really changed the game and it's really made it a lot more fun. I think that will conclude the video, guys. I really hope that has given you some knowledge of the game. I really hope it's giving you a way to understand Escape from Tarkov a bit more in sense of keybinds, what you need to do, and how you need to work your character, everything around your character and the development. plus the main menu. Again, if you did like the content, if you did like the video, please like, subscribe, maybe comment on some questions I didn't answer that you may need to know. There's so much more to Tarkov. You know, you've got armor plating now for your armor, that you can put armor plates in there to make your armor even stronger, but I didn't want to overload you with information. Remember, we are also going to be going through a ground zero map overview, also a customs video overview, and then a woods video overview for you guys. But as I said, if there's anything you needed, look in the description below. Everything will be there for you to welcome you to the game. The maps I'm going to put in there as well. So welcome to Tarkov. If you've just started, if it's a brand new beginning for you for this game, don't have gear fear. Go in, have fun. Expect and know that you are going to die sometimes. Don't be upset about it. It is a game at the end of the day. And of course, the more aggressive you are, I will tell this to everyone, the more aggressive you are, the more you're willing to take fights, the more better you are going to be at Escape from Tarkov. So enjoy the game, have fun, and see you on the next video. I am Blacklight. Welcome to the end of the video. I did want to give you 3 bonus little tips that can help you because you are brand new or hopefully very new to Escape from Tarkov. You know, these raids can be quite intimidating, especially on ground zero. But the first one I'm going to talk about is gear fear. Now, what gear fear is essentially you being scared to take in really good or, you know, goodish gear into a raid because you're scared of losing it. Guys, the more times you go in with better gear, even if you lose it, you're going to be more of a threat. You're going to be more confident in your play style because you have better items, you have better guns, you have better armor. So that in turn means you're going to be making better plays. If you only take a pistol with no armor or really crappy armor, this means you're going to play a lot more safer, but a lot more scared. Don't have gear fear, guys. You're going to get so much money. You're going to get so much loot down the track, and you're going to laugh at yourself for having gear fear. Number 2 of the tips is don't trust anyone in Escape from Tarkov unless you're in a Discord, unless you're squatted up, you're in together. Look, 1 out of 20 times, 1 out of 10 times, there's going to be that nice person that comes along. But there is going to be that one time where you've got so many good things and you've trusted this person and they have just unleashed bullets onto you after you're talking about something. If you declare to someone, look, I'm friendly, but I don't want to do like quests with you or anything like that, you can run or we can fight. That's how I do it, but I just don't trust anyone in Escape from Tarkov. Third and final tip, which I will include with a bit of another one, is just have fun. Have fun, guys. Escape from Tarkov, everyone talks about it being such a grindy, hard game, but the more you have fun with the game, don't get upset with your deaths. Learn from your deaths why you died. If someone's hiding in a room, if someone's ratting you or camping and you just die, it's a part of the game, guys. Escape from Tarkov can be one of the most excruciating, painful, mental games, but there is nothing that beats the highs of Escape from Tarkov. You know, having average armor and an average gun and shooting this absolutely geared guy that you kill and getting all this insane loot and just the rush you get from fights. Utilize this, have fun, but don't stress over it. There's 3 little tips that'll help you on your journey. I hope you enjoyed everything about this video, and make sure if you're full stamina to jump like a madman when you're getting shot. Don't be afraid, you can hop like a bunny rabbit.